Welcome to my first installment of the Intro to Java. My name is Misfit Kings. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you've been part of my channel, I'm taking a little shift in gears here. Today we're going to walk through how to make a bank account kind of simulator. So like a bank app. What I'm doing here today with you guys is I'm going to walk through how to build a simple Java program. And this is really just going to work on your skills in importing certain Java packages, creating some methods, and working with that and outputting to your console. So let's get started. We are working in the Eclipse IDE. I'm going to click Java project. We're going to name this bank account sim. Nice and simple. We don't need to click anything else in there. If you're reading down the side, you can see that I do have a previous bank account simulator. I did run through this and made sure everything worked before I decided to do this with you guys. So in here, we're just going to call it main, keep it nice and simple. I don't click or change anything. Finish. And then I'm going to close that out. So with this project, we are going to use a scanner. We want to gather information from the user. That is a very important task. This is kind of what it's going to look like at the end. So let me just go ahead and clear this out. We'll work with a fresh console. All right, so we are working with our scanner. So let's go ahead and import java.util.scanner. Oops, I can't spell. Beautiful. We've imported our scanner. Let's just ignore that little yellow squiggles underneath. And the second thing we need to do is create I'm going to do a public static void main. We'll do string args. You'll see this at the top of most, if not all, especially when you're just beginning in this. You'll see this little bit just right at the top. So let's just kind of go over what we're going to need to build this program. So a couple of things that we're going to need are our scanner. And because we're doing it in our main class, we'll make it a static. We'll do scanner. And we'll name that object scanner. And then we're going to set it to a new object scanner system.in. And that system.in. So this system.in section is just going to allow us to get input when we call our object from the user just from typing or any other input device that they use. The next thing that we're going to need is another static, and this one's going to be our double. It's going to be our balance. I am going to initialize a balance because when you open up a bank account, you got nothing in there. All right, let's move on down to our main method. So we're going to want to test if this project is running. So we're going to make an isRunning boolean. And I'm going to keep that as actually true throughout this. We're only going to turn it, I believe we're only going to make it false if we select something. And then the last thing we need is a choice, because the user is going to be prompted to choose something. So when the user chooses a choice, it's going to kind of skim through that and choose the best option. So the first thing that you want to see when you open up a banking app of sorts is the main menu. So let's go ahead and get working on that main menu. First thing I want to do is I want to create a outside method for this. We could technically, yes, type it all out in this section here. I just think your actual main looks a little bit cleaner when you can just call that method. So that's what we're going to do. So to do that, we're going to do a public static, and we're going to do void because we are not returning a number or anything. We're just going to have it print out to our console down here. It's going to print out in this little lovely box. So we're going to do a public static void, and we're going to name this menu options. So that's our first little method. All right. So I'm going to do system.out.print. I'm going to do an ln. It's going to have a nice little line break. I like little separators. Do another one of these. We're just going to do like our title of it. If I can spell, that would be fantastic. So bank account. And then I'm actually going to just copy this guy here. So it's exactly the same amount across. So it just looks a little bit cleaner. And then I think what I want to do is I want to add a break between our title and the options that we're going to type down here. So we're just going to put a system.out.println, which creates a blank line in our console. So we're just going to do that, and then move down to system.out.println, and we're going to start listing off those options. So when you open up a bank account in that banking app, you want to see your balance. That's the first thing we're going to do. Next, you may also want to deposit a balance. After that, you're going to want to withdraw some money. And lastly, we're going to want to close this app. Now before I forget, with our scanner up here, we do always want to close that at the end of our program. So I am just going to preemptively scanner.close. So just make sure that our scanner closes when the entirety of our main is done. Now at the bottom of this, I'm just going to put that little line break in there again. All right, so we finished this little bit out. Let's see how it does in our console. We're going to press the run button at the top. Oops. Forgot to save it. You know what I didn't do? I did not call our menu options in our main, so right now there is nothing to display. Let's go ahead and put that in there. All right, perfect. All right, so beautiful. We've got our bank account. It's got our little options there. I'm realizing I don't like that little break there, so I'm going to get rid of it. I'm going to try that again. Oh, that looks so much cleaner. All right, so when you start the program, it says bank account. Do you want to see your bank account balance? Do you want to deposit into your bank account? Do you want to withdraw into your bank account? Or do you want to close and get out of this little program? So beautiful. We are finished with our, actually do need to move this. Did do a little mess up here. So this close actually, now I'm looking at it, has to go there, not inside the method. So let's just clean up these spacings a little bit. Awesome. We finished our first method together, which is our public static menu options, and that is called here. So you notice if you call it, you don't repeat all this other stuff here. You just call that method. It doesn't take any arguments. And when it's called in our program, it reads down, it says menu options, and then it boops down to the menu options method. So we are done with this. Let's go ahead and close that, shrink it up. We don't need it. The next option for us, as you can see down here, we're going to go ahead and work on our show balance, deposit, withdraw, and close. So I think our best option for this is going to be to use a switch case. So with our switch case, we want to make sure that when the user makes a choice, if that choice, open this back up, if that choice is 1, we continue working in this program, 2, we continue, and 3 as well. The only time this program will close is if they select 4. So in order to do that, we need to have a while loop. So I'm actually going to put this inside of our while loop. So we're going to do while is running. So while is running is true. We're going to run the menu options. So that's going to display this for the user. And after we display this for the user, we want the user to make a choice, make a decision. Sorry. So we want that user to make a decision. So in order to do that, we're going to prompt the user. Enter your choice. We'll do 1 through 4. And actually, I'm going to get rid of that ln because when they input their choice, I want it to come out on the same line after this. So when we do print without the ln, the cursor that you see blinking at the end is going to stay there. So when the user types, it's going to end up on that same line. So we're going to keep that on the same line. I think it just looks a little cleaner. Next, after we have prompted the user for that choice, we want to assign the choice to our scanner.nextInt. And this is when that switch case that I talked about earlier is going to come in handy. We're going to switch choice. So that switch choice, I am going to move it over just for a little cleaner look. There we go. Switch. So when their choice matches each case, it will do something. So our case 1 is going to be show balance. So I'm just going to, let's make sure this works first. So we're going to do system.out.print show. We're just going to put balance. We'll go back in and adjust this so that it shows the true essence of what we're trying to get to. We'll do the second case for this. So if the user selects 2, we want to deposit. And then case 3, we want to withdraw. And case 4, and because we kind of already know what case 4 is, so case 4 is close. So that means we want this program to end, and it is constantly checking is running true. So the only thing that we've got to do for case 4, you can actually complete case 4 right now, is set is running equal to false. So case 4 is handled. The last thing we need to do for our switch case is set our default. And our default is going to be, because they might have typed out, they might have entered something invalid. So we're going to do invalid choice. Plain and simple. So we've got the invalid choice. So let's just test this out and make sure that when we make a choice, so when our input is gathered into choice and it matches one of these 4 and or the default, that it runs properly. And if it's not, we're going to work through that together. Let's click run. Looks like we've worked up to the while it's running. It has prompted us for a choice. Let's go with 1. Press enter. It's got our balance. Beautiful. Let's try 2. It's got our deposit. Great. Let's try 3. Withdraw. Beautiful. And then let's enter a random number. Let's say 9. Invalid choice. All right, we see that that works properly. And then let's check out 4. And our project closes. Sorry about that. So after we finish this, we've seen that everything works the way that we were looking for it to. The next step, I'm just going to close our menu options. We've got our switch choice laid out here. The next step in this is to fill in each one of these cases with a method. Yes, we technically could do it here, but I think it just looks better if we create a couple different methods for this. So let's work on our show balance method. So let's go ahead and pop down here. It's going to be another public static, and our show balance isn't going to return anything. So it's going to be void show balance, and it's going to take our current balance as an argument. So anything inside these parentheses here is going to be an argument to this method. And you can have, you can do title. Like you can have multiple arguments in something, but for right now we just need one. So our show balance takes a double as a argument to our show balance method. I feel like I just said that, but it's fine. We're working through this together. So I like the idea of having it print out our current balance, kind of like a little string at the front of this. So current balance, and then so on that same line, because I didn't do ln dot print, and actually we are going to do something different that we haven't done just yet, is a printf statement. So we're going to do printf, and then $, modulo 0.2f. So that's going to give us 2 decimal places. A little line break just to make that look better, comma, and then to fill in that point f, we're going to call our balance. And then just to keep everything kind of clean looking, we're going to print out a new line at the end of that. So let's go ahead and test out our balance, shall we? Sorry, I do have dogs and they get a little excited sometimes. So let's go ahead and test out our show balance method. So let's go ahead and run our program. We see that nothing is broken, so we're doing good. So let's show balance. And let's see. Oh, you know what we didn't do? We did not call our balance method up here. So let's go ahead and close that. And let's go ahead and replace our system out.println with our call to our show balance And then we're going to have to make sure we put our balance in there. So we've completed what it's asking for, and let's try that again. Let's do our show balance. Beautiful. It is showing our current balance, and because we have that initialized when you open a bank, it's got nothing in it until you deposit. So that's looking good. We can go ahead and close that. And we need to work on two more. So we've got our deposit and our withdraw. So our deposit, we are going to be adding money to our balance. Let's start with a public static void. Let's do, what should we name this? I think, you know what? It's actually not going to be, it's going to be a double because we want to return how much we're depositing. So public static double, and then we're going to name that deposit. And deposit is not going to take a argument. And then before we do anything, we are going to swap that out for our deposit method so I do not forget. And then in our deposit, we're going to need an amount. So next, we are going to write. The amount is going to actually be the input from the user, so what they want to deposit into that account. So let's prompt the user for a amount. So enter deposit amount. That is not right. So it's going to enter that, and we're going to put amount equals scanner dot next double, because remember we're trying to get a double. It's going to have cents in there. I didn't spell double right. There we go. And so we want to make sure that the user is not entering something less than 0, because how are you going to add negative 2 cents to your bank account? So let's do an if statement. If the amount is less than 0, we're going to inform the user that the deposit must be greater than $0.00. Beautiful. And then we do have to return something in here that is a double, so we're just going to return 0. Else, actually, well, yeah, we can do that. We can return the balance instead of 0, so it's a little bit more accurate. So say you already have some money in there, we can just have it return what is in your account. Must be greater than 0. We can put in there, like, like we can do system.out.println. We can do deposit unsuccessful, just to let them know like nothing was added to their account, and return that balance. If they did enter something greater than 0, then we're going to let them know that it was a successful deposit. So deposit successful, right? And then after that, we are going to display that deposit amount. So we'll say print f, so we can do little functions in there. A little string, we're going to deposit. Did I spell that right? Yeah, I did. Deposit amount. I'll let them know how much they deposited. $, 0.2f, so that's 2 decimal spaces. And then I like a little bit of a line break here. And then next to this comma, we actually are going to call what we want to fill in for that little space there. So in that space, we're going to put our amount. And then we are going to add that amount to our balance. So doing the shorthand plus equals is basically the same as saying balance equals balance plus the amount. And then we are going to return the amount. So let's go ahead and test our balance method, make sure it works out right. So let's go ahead and press 2. Let's say we deposit $10. Deposit successful, $10. Let's try that again. Let's do 15. It tells me deposit was successful again. Let's see if it shows our balance. So 10 plus 15. 25, it looking great, looking great. And then let's check an outlier. Let's say we deposit negative 25. Deposit must be greater than 0, deposit unsuccessful. And then let's go ahead and show our balance, make sure it is still the same. It is still 25. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and close that out. So the last thing that we are going to work on here is our withdraw. And I just realized something. I don't want to just call our deposit method. Well, actually, yeah, no, that's fine. I was going to say let's do the deposit addition up here, but because we already handle that in the method, we don't actually have to put that up there. So we are looking good. Let's go ahead and close that. And then let's work on our withdraw. So we're going to want to take money out of our account. So again, for the withdraw, it is going to be a public static method again. And it's going to return a double. We're going to call that withdraw. And you are going to need your balance in that method as well. So again, we're going to need an amount from the user. So we're going to declare that amount as a double. We're going to prompt that user, enter amount to be withdrawn. And then we're going to make that amount set to your next double. And then, so you don't want to be able to withdraw more than what's in your account. So if the amount is greater than your balance, you want to let the user know that they do not have enough funds. You also want to check if the amount that they want to withdraw is less than 0. So we'll do an else if statement and just let the user know as well that the amount must be greater than $0. And lastly, if they do everything right, we're just going to return the amount. So this is still underlined, and that's because we didn't return a double in our if statement or our else if statement. So we're just going to put return 0 and return 0. Beautiful. So with this, we're going to go back up here and change this little guy out. And that little guy, we need to actually do a little calculation. So what I mentioned earlier with the deposit, we're actually going to do here for case 3, so you can kind of see how both can work. So I'm going to get rid of the system.out.print. We're going to do our balance minus our withdraw. I'm going to throw our balance into there as an argument. If I could spell, that'd be great. Balance. Beautiful. I'm just going to clean that up really quick because that's just too much space there. And let's go ahead and test our withdraw feature. So let's do show balance. We've got nothing in there. So let's make sure that if if we try to withdraw less than our balance, or greater than our balance, I should say. Oh, I pressed close. Well, we know the close function still works. So let's do withdraw, which is 3. Withdraw amount, I'm going to say $1. Insufficient funds, it kicks us back. All right, let's deposit $100. Let's show our balance. So it did say we deposited and that was successful. So let's show our balance. Let's make sure that reflects our balance is $100. So that's working well. Let's withdraw, let's say 10, 15. All right, so let's check our balance. 89, 85, that's looking pretty good. Let's withdraw 100. Insufficient funds because we withdrew more than our balance. Let's try that one more time. Let's withdraw negative 25. Must be greater. And there we have it. We have completed our first little project together. And it's our little bank account simulation. You get a menu. You're accepting the user's choice. Let's go back up to here. You get your menu that you display. You are adding a balance, showing your balance, you're depositing, you're withdrawing, and you are checking if it is still running, and if it's not, if the user wants to close the program, we're closing it. And if the user does not input something that is valid, we let them know. So you've just built your first project with me, a bank account simulation. It's very simple. It's an intro to Java. If you enjoyed this, let me know in the comments. If you like it, don't forget to subscribe, and I appreciate you guys sticking this out with me. I'll see you guys next time.